We'll just give a quick overview. I am just a regular schmegular person doing my thing out here. And the whole purpose behind this collaboration, this meeting of the minds is to inform the masses about what's going on. We want to make sure that you guys are informed. We want to make sure that you know what's going on. We don't want anyone to go to those polls in November and not be aware of what's supposed to happen after election, the 6 months after election. So we're going to get right into it. We're not going to spend a lot of time today. We will do this weekly, and we're going to dive more into the document so we can keep coverage and make sure you guys are informed with any changes, anything that is new, anything you want to add to that?
Nah, man, listen, I just think it's very imperative that everybody in our community, not just our community, just everyone is in the know. As a United States citizen,
Absolutely.
everyone is in the know about this document.
That is all we are here for. So we're going to go ahead and get started and go over the document. So I'm going to go ahead and start by introducing the name of the document. It's called The
Da, da,
Mandate
da.
for Leadership, the Conservative Promise for 2025. This is the mandate. This is what they are going to mandate the new leader of 2025 do. But not just any leader, the Republican leader. So it's not like it's a document catered toward just
Democrats.
Democrats or any party. It's specifically designed for the Republican leader. Why do you think that
Absolutely.
is?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how
We
controversial
free.
we can be, but
Listen,
I'll
we
be
free. We
nice
can do what we
starting out the
want to
gate.
do. We
I'll
free.
be
We can do
nice
what we
starting out
want
the
to do.
gate, right?
Look.
So let me just say that the gist of the Republican Party is very much they embrace this idea of everybody has resources, so everybody should be making it. We all have the same 24 hours in our day. We don't understand why you are not able to climb this ladder like we have. And I'm
Right.
gonna put it out. So when I talk, I'm going to talk in very, very like simple forms for everybody that's on here. So all my hood folks, all my young folks, everybody, y'all gonna be able to feel me 100% on this politics. Because one thing that I hate about politicians is they use very big words to exhaust their listeners and their readers. And we're gonna break all that down.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here for. Because as we were diving into this, and just to keep in mind, guys, we literally did this collaboration because of you. Like, we could read this document and discuss it and get riled up or get fired up and just keep it to ourselves. But we both agreed that this was something greater than just us. Like, this needs to be known by everyone. You guys need to be able to understand the entire everything that's going on with the mandate for leadership, the promise of the conservatives. So I want to bring your attention to Dr. Kevin Roberts, who was the one who authored this document, and it was edited by Paul Dance and Stephen Groves. So there were
Oh
three
yeah, we name
people.
dropping.
Oh, they name dropped. They gave it to me. So
It's a public document.
it's a
Anybody,
public
you can
document.
literally Google Project 2025 and this document will come up. So it ain't nothing that we dug up. It ain't no
No,
suspicious, no risky business. We ain't over here being messy. We just trying to inform y'all of what's already right in front of your faces.
bingo. It is definitely nothing that we're trying to hide or we're not trying, I don't have to say allegedly because it is what it is. So it's not allegedly who wrote it. He authored it. His name's on the bottom. Bring your attention down to the bottom of the document. It wasn't me. So just want to put that out there. And we'll get right into it. So we're gonna go through the document. I was gonna chop it up. We were gonna chop it up, and I decided I don't really want to do that because I want you to understand that everything we're taking is coming straight from here. We're not
Yep.
putting words into anything. We're not changing anything around. And that's the reason I decided not to chop it up for you guys. We will sum it up for you guys verbally, but I didn't want to break the document up because I need you to understand that this 800, 900 page document is here for everyone to see. All right. So let's get into it. We're going to start
Let's
real
get into it.
slow with let's just overview what's in this document. And let's make this a teachable moment for all of my, table of contents. You guys got to understand that they're going to tell you what they're going to tell you about before you get into the document.
Right.
And segments of the document. What are your first thoughts when you're looking at taking reins of government? What are your first thoughts?
I- Well, see, but see, my thought is gonna be biased because I've already read the document, and not only have I read the document, I've been able to break it down for my students. And so this, for me, is how it came to fruition. Is that I actually was teaching my students about the civil rights movement. In our history class, and we just so happened to be on the civil rights movement, and this document or this information about this document populates, and it's like, what? How crazy is it that even if we're looking at time frame, like you're looking at a time span of just about 60 years, and that's just for easy numbers, just about 60 years. We have grandparents that are older than 60 years. All of the rights that African Americans have had to fight for have happened within just a short 60-year time frame. So I'm a little biased, but when I look at this, if I had no notion of what was in this document, taking reins of the government would sound like it's a takeover. Like Kia Boys is hopping out. That's what it sounds like. Kia Boys is hopping out on the
Straight up,
government. That's what it sounds
straight up. Definitely, we about to take over the government. We do not like the current government that we have, and it's a stick up. So it is what it is. The common defense, section 2 of the document. Let's talk about it. Just the common defense.
Yeah, they're trying to take over major government agencies that protect the rights of people. And two of those major organizations is the DOJ and the DHS. Y'all,
Mm-hmm.
y'all don't want that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all don't want that to, y'all don't want that to happen because
Because
all these civil liberties that we have, I don't care if you black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever, the civil liberties that you have as a United States citizen, yeah, nah, my boy, get it out of
what it
there.
sounds
That's what they're
like
trying to do.
is this is what we're gonna do, and if you either fall in line, or this is what we're gonna do if you don't fall in line. So this is what it is, and you need to get with it. And if you don't decide this, if you decide that this is not what you want, these are the defenses that we have that should be taken in. Like, this is what's going to go into place afterwards, right? So
Right.
the common defense, it wasn't common before. The general welfare. You're looking at the Department of Agriculture, Education, Energy, Protection Agency, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, the Department of the Interior, Department of Justice, Department of Labor, Department of Transportation, Department of Veteran Affairs. It addresses all of these different departments in the
I
general
want to I want
welfare.
to put a slight I want to put a slight pin right there because for all of my protected veterans, this y'all gonna have to tap in. Listen, when I say I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, as a United States citizen, they are trying to come for the establishment of our government. And if this policy is put into place, now of course, we all know that the president doesn't really have as much power as we think that he does. But
Mhm,
this is what this document is trying to do. It's
mhm.
trying to give him the powers that people believe that the
The
president
president
has.
should have, because he
Right.
doesn't have a lot of power. You have to know that there is a chain of he is the president. He oversees, but he is not the one making the laws. He does not make the laws. And a lot of people think because you're president, you can do this. You can only do what you're allowed to do by the people who are voted into office. So they have to come together and vote. And that was the whole reason of us becoming independent. That was the whole purpose. They didn't like how people were imposing taxes. The kings were imposing taxes on the people without their say. And they decided, hey, no, we're going to boycott. And that's where the Tea Party comes from. That's where the
Mhm.
Stamp Act, because the Stamp Act led to all of this. Oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. Listen.
And, and
So
listen, y'all right here with two black educated women. So everything that we talking about, we got facts and receipts for every way that the United States society has functioned throughout the course of the years. And I guarantee you, if 2025 goes into effect, they will take us back. They just won't
all
push.
the way
All
back.
that was for nothing.
All the way back. But it's going to go back to, and back when we were all colonies, when we were all dry, when it was like, yeah, listen, y'all don't understand. We woo, this thing get me fired up. And it only gets me fired up because of how hard we've worked to get to where we are. And we're not perfect. We're not at all perfect. We do not have all of the rights, but we as a people must still stand together. It doesn't matter black, white. This is not a time to look at race as a mechanism to divide. This is not a time to look at
Mm.
parties as a reason to divide. We have to all have a common ground and say we're American too. So we're American first. So our rights as American, there will, like, what rights will we have if they're able to tell us what to do, when to do, how to do, and we don't get to say because whatever the president says goes? It doesn't work that way, and that was the reason we got here in the first place, because that didn't work, and a lot of people died. So is that where we're going?
And I want to piggyback off of that. What right do we have? And I'm going to insert a little statement here. What right do we have if they deprive us of our ability to vote the way that we want to vote? Because honestly and truthfully, it's really about the voting. This is what they're trying to deconstruct, is our freedoms as it relates to voting, and they're trying to infringe upon us who ultimately, plainly putting it, they trying to establish a dictatorship. Let's be for real.
This is what it is. They want to tell us what to do, when to do, and how to do. If they don't want you to have guns, they say you can't have guns. Remove all the guns from the homes. Nothing you
And
can
if you
do
don't agree,
now. It
get
doesn't
them out.
matter. Exactly. And this is why everything, oh, we're going to get concentration camps. Hello. Like, what do you think is going to happen when you don't agree with their defense? What do you think is going to happen to the people when you stand up for, like, what do you think is going to happen? So while all of you tell me it don't matter who vote because y'all want another check, y'all got to be mindful of all of the things they are not saying. This document is what's supposed to go into place 180 days after the election. That is 6 months. 6 months. 6 months.
Of the first 6 months of a 2-year term. And
Yes.
as we know, most likely if you serve one term, you're going to serve 2 terms. So
Absolutely.
you're looking at 6 months of a span of time between 2 and 4 years. And that's just the first 6 months of that 2 to 4 years.
Yep. Let's get
Yeah.
into it. So,
Yeah.
section 4, the economy. And I want you guys, when you think economy, think money. This is how the money moves. How does the money move? Who's in control of the money? The economy, the Department of Commerce, the Department of the Treasury, the Export-Import Bank, Federal Reserve, Small Business Administration, the trade. All of these things, economy, think money. So what happens to the money? How does the money move? Who's in charge of the money? Who determines where the money goes? We'll get into that. Independent and regulatory agencies. Communications, election commission, trade commission, election commission, communications.
You know what's mind blowing to me right now? Like, this is a live document on the internet. Like, we didn't this is crazy. This is
Not on
crazy.
the news.
It's
Not on,
crazy.
and everything on social media. How many shares? Think about how many shares a day. This document wasn't shared across my news feed, not once.
Not once.
Not once. Not a memo, not a hey, yo, what's up? Nothing. It's almost as if they want you to do exactly what they have said you would do for so many years, not read.
Yeah. If you
That's
want to hide
okay.
it from
Y'all
people,
don't have
put
to
it
read
in
it.
the
We're
book.
gonna read it for
If you
y'all.
want to hide the information from people, put it in the book. And you know what type of people we talk. If you okay, since we being real, you want to hide it from our people, put it in the book. They ain't gonna read it. And then if they do start reading it, make the words so big and so
They
grandeur
can't
that they can't
understand
break
it.
it down.
Because guess what? If they can't
Because they ain't got
comprehend
them
it,
degrees. They ain't got them resources like we got. All of them ain't going to college. They ain't got no master's degrees. Come on, be for real.
doctorates, degrees. Because it was a doctor who wrote it. We're gonna keep that in mind. So breakdown of the document, because that still blows my mind. Let's get into it. We're not going to spend a lot of time before you today, guys. We got about 14 more minutes. We're going to do 30 minutes today, 30 minutes next time, and we're going to keep breaking this thing down so you guys understand what's going on. So acknowledgement stood out to me because I want you to understand that these are the people whom they acknowledge for being a part and contributing to this document, who stand behind what they believe in. So what they're saying is those people who they are acknowledging believe in what they wrote in this document. So don't be surprised by some of the names that you may hear, or some of the organizations or universities that are standing behind this document. All right. So first things first, let's just break this little segment down right here. This work for the mandate of leadership of the conservative promise is collective efforts of hundreds of volunteers who have banded together, in the spirit of advancing positive change for America. Banded together, hundreds of volunteers. These people whom they are acknowledging have volunteered their time to create these rules in this document for the advancing of the positive change of America. Our work is by no means the comprehensive compendium of conservative policies, nor is our group the exclusive For what? Conservative thinkers. For what? For what?
Conservative thinkers. Conservative thinkers. And so this is
Stop.
don't get me on my high horse right now. We
I
only got
know
14
this what we
minutes.
came in for. I'm kind of feeling the type of way right now. You feeling the kind of way? What it's really
Absolutely.
saying is it's the policies of what those who think like us, all of the conservatives out there, and y'all hear these words all the time, right? Y'all hear conservatives, they use it. The ideas expressed in this volume are not necessarily shared by all. What unites us is the drive to make our country better.
That
While
make
they
a
might not
that
all
make
agree
America
with everything, but they agree with the majority of what's in here. They agree that it will make this country a better place. These things in which we're going to bring before you is what's supposed to make America better.
Mhm.
Keep in mind all of the sections we went over as we discussed that. That's what's supposed to make America better. Thoughts?
Yeah, give him. Listen, my thought is that slogan, Make America Great Again, wasn't solely on Donald Trump. It was on the Republican Party, and they knew I really feel like they knew for a long time that this document was coming when they got him in the first time.
Absolutely. I believe the plan was to implement, but they have to make changes in order to implement because the president doesn't hold the power in which they had hoped that they needed to make the changes they want to make. That's why
Absolutely.
a lot of the reversal of the laws, when you think about abortion, when you think about education, when you think about the push to remove Black history from education, you got
Oh,
to
absolutely.
think about all of the things that have changed: the abortion laws, the education laws. It was the other one, I can't even think of it. Like all of the things they changed, even with protesting and not being able to a peaceful protest, and who gets to dictate and determine what a peaceful protest is. So all of
Hmm.
these things that have been put in place, and people don't understand when they were put into place. So you got to be mindful. It's not just the president that we're in fear of. It's also the people who are running your state, your cities,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
counties.
yeah,
It's not
yeah.
just the
Because
president.
listen, your state governors actually have more say so in what happens in your state than the president of the United States. That's why people are so adamant about getting you to vote in your state.
Yeah.
Because if you think
They determine where money goes.
the governor of Florida ain't been doing some foo crap, and yeah, so I can't say
They
those
they
words.
determines right. They determines when we get relief funding in an event of a catastrophic event. They determine where the funding goes. They determine who gets it first, or if they don't get it at all.
Yeah.
So FEMA, all of that stuff is controlled by people who are in office. So it's bigger than just, oh, I'm gonna vote for president. You need to be aware of everyone in which you're voting for because
Hmm.
everybody matter. Your judges matter. And we say, oh, we know that, but we don't have control. Well, you know what? That doesn't mean give up. That means do the best you can. So yeah, we may not win, but are we gonna not fight because we're not gonna win?
Right. I think doing your best means understanding or making yourself knowledgeable about which candidate you are voting for. I mean, and honestly and truthfully, I really feel like when it comes to politics, you're always going to have to choose the lesser of the two evils. So we've got that part. Choose the lesser of the two evils, but be knowledgeable about which evil you're choosing. I mean, let's just be frank. Be knowledgeable about which evil you're choosing.
Then they always go into the, well, they don't help us anyway. Okay. Okay.
That's
But I
why.
tell you what, I don't know.
Because they told you in their campaigns, we weren't going to do it anyway. And you either didn't come out to vote or you didn't vote right,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
And
is why it's so important that you are educated about this document. Because if they take that right to vote from you, baby, it's not just about the United States president. It's going to be about your state legislators too.
absolutely. Absolutely. And woo, my goodness, my goodness. Oh my God. So hold on, give
I'm
me one.
sorry, I'm trying to stay.
No, no,
I'm
no, no,
from
no,
the
no, no.
hood though, right? So I can tell you, you know what I'm saying. We can go about it however you want it. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. I love it. Like I don't even I want it to be uncut and unfiltered because at the end of the day, they need to hear the truth about it. And it's like, okay,
Yeah,
let's
absolutely.
get to it. We're gonna keep it pushing. transforming the work of dozens of authors and hundreds of contributors into one manuscript. So this is the manuscript that they all came up with. They named the research of editors who was on this document, in the document. If you want to know who they are, you want to Google them, go look them up. I may do a little something with them a little bit later. I don't know. Most important, we are grateful for the leadership, supporters, and donors of each of the project. Donors.
That means money. That means money, y'all. They putting money
People
into this
spent
foolishness.
money to ensure that this is what will occur. Where do you think the money went if this is going for the next president?
Whew.
Where did the money go? Because when we're talking about donors, where did they donate to? Donated to the group of people who wrote it? Or did they donate it to a certain place to ensure that what they wrote will be enforced? What's up, Mr. Brown? How you doing?
Good. Y'all
Yeah, man.
about a couple of the areas
man, Mr. Brown, and you in the Matrix, I think.
Oh, let's see.
Oh no,
Can
you good. You're good. You're good. You're
Yeah,
good.
a little bit better, a little bit better.
All right, hold on. Let me see. That might be. Is that a little better now? Well, I'm trying to get. I'll find a better location. But we only heard about a couple of the areas that they wanted to take over. You know, Department of Education, or just some of the others, or Department of Justice. That when the police kick in your doors or they do something wrong, you can always have the Department of Justice look into things, that any kind of discrimination in a bunch of different areas, not just in law enforcement, but in other. And then the Department of Education, discrimination in education, even for ESC, the DOJ is over exceptional student education. The DOJ is over all kinds of things, and Department of Education, they will cover those areas. So if your child is discriminated against, you got somewhere to go.
Just want to insert that real quick because I need everybody to understand when he said the ESC services, we know what those are. We're talking about the kids with the IEPs, not just the kids with not just students with disabilities. We're talking about gifted kids as well. So if you have students who are gifted, they are also affected. It's not just the kids who have an IEP, it's the students also with an EP, which is just an education plan. So I need you guys to understand that. So when you're talking about students getting rights and being able to fight, like, they have to give your students their accommodations. We don't know what will happen if this document is put into place.
Right. And to get rid of all those areas, oh my gosh, you know, like even when they didn't prosecute an officer for doing something to a family, and then all of a sudden the Department of Justice comes in, even like with the George Floyd, the guy who killed George Floyd had to look at state charges and as well as federal charges. And then they tried to go for the federal charges because they thought that was lesser. The accused did. So we have avenues. They want to get rid of every avenue and leave it to the states. They want the state rights, which means that sometimes you get these ultra conservative or even good old boys who just want to take away all of your rights, women's rights, health care, you know, people's rights to a fair education, removing DEI, removing just every type of.
And for everybody that's listening, DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And basically what that means is that people who have been discriminated against, they have people that are establishing these institutions to ensure that they are not discriminated against, like for lack of better words, and to break that down very simplistically. But they've already done away with DEI. They've already started doing away with DEI.
Yes. Student loans, there won't be any student loans when they get finished. They already say you shouldn't get student loan relief. So they don't want you to be able to get a
loan. If you can't afford it, then you don't go. If your family can't afford it, then you just don't get to go to school. You need to be able to pay for education.
That'll be the beginning. And then it'll be health care too. They've been trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. That will be gone for those who don't have
implemented.
They didn't even want it to be passed. Let's be honest. They didn't even want that Affordable Health Care Act to be passed. And everybody's calling it Obamacare. It's not Obamacare. It's the Affordable Health Care Act. There were many presidents before Obama that were trying to put that Health Care Act into place. Obama just happened to be the president that was in place at the time that the Health Care Act was passed.
And let me, and really quick, for those of you who don't know, so this Affordable Health Care Act makes employers provide health care or ensure that you get some sort of health care. You have to have health care. And for those of you who cannot afford it, they'll give you health care for free. And we're not talking about Medicaid. I'm talking about healthcare where they're actually paying for your prescriptions, giving you an allowance to go to your doctor's visits. If you have a special doctor's visit, I'm talking about $100 copays. They're paying that and they're paying the back. You pay nothing if you cannot afford healthcare to ensure that you can have healthcare in place. I love y'all, but we got to wrap this segment up. We are going to definitely continue to dive into this document, guys. This is our plan, to continue to dive into the document and get into the ins and outs of it, to have open discussions. Feel free to join us on the live and watch, or join us on Zoom to give your input, whatever it is you want to do. We will be here back here next Friday at 2 p.m. right here, same place, same time. And we're going to continue to inform and educate. And we're going to run this thing as much as we can till election, because we need you to understand that your vote matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
Your vote matters more than you know. And I know you want to say that, oh, it's just one vote, but I've done the research with my students, and there have been presidential candidates that have won by like 5 votes. Like, I'm talking about very small margins of voters are like getting these people into office. So I don't care if you think that just one vote won't matter. I can tell you statistically speaking, your vote matters more than you know.
Anything you want to say in closing?
Even down to your house. They can pass local laws and state laws. They already have eminent domain. So if they pass this type of law, if they feel like that a neighborhood needs to be removed, there'll be no kind of redress. Supreme Court's behind them. There's no kind, the housing authority. When you mentioned that they wanted to get rid of the housing authority, oh my gosh, housing discrimination, which means that they can just say, no, we don't have an apartment for you, but the next person, sure, we'll give them that apartment. All kinds of things touching in, and I look forward to the next one.
All right. I appreciate everybody. It's your girl, Raine Rosé. Y'all check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We're on Raine's Reality Live on YouTube. You can catch the clips. My girl Epiphany's going to post it, repost it. We're going to keep posting it. Until next time, it's peace, love, and happiness.
Yeah.